Correspondent Laura Makin-Isherwood is in London. She joins us for the very latest. Laura, very good evening to you. So after making that 6-hour journey, we believe the coffin has now, the cortege rather, has arrived in Edinburgh.
Yes, and you would have seen those pictures, of course, of people lining the streets, wanting to catch a glimpse of that coffin as it passed through Scotland and wanting to pay respects to a monarch that had been on the throne for 70 years. There were emotional scenes, of course, people laying flowers in Scotland too, but that isn't the end of Queen Elizabeth's journey. As your reporter just said, the coffin will then be transferred to London and preparations are now underway for that funeral service that's going to take place a week on Monday. Dignitaries from around the world are expected to attend. Presidents, prime ministers, they'll all be there celebrating her life and giving her a send-off. But there was a lot that happened today as well for King Charles III, our new monarch in the United Kingdom and now the new head of the Commonwealth. He met with the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Baroness Scotland. They had a conversation about what the plans may be for his reign and also the future of Commonwealth nations, because that title wasn't automatic for him. It had to be given. And now he will follow his mother in having that role.
And we'll get back to the issue of the title in just a moment, but I understand that King Charles III will also himself go to Scotland. Tell us about the arrangements in the funeral that he will be involved in.
Yes, he will. He's going to head to Scotland, where he's expected to stand vigil at his mother's coffin, spend a little bit of time there paying respects along with other senior royals at varying times. But King Charles III has a very busy diary leading up to the funeral service that will take place at Westminster Abbey. He's visiting not just Scotland, but also Northern Ireland. He'll head to Belfast and also to Wales, to the capital Cardiff there, basically presenting himself as the new king and saying hello to as many of the people in the public as possible. We've seen tremendous scenes in London today. It's been very busy. A lot of people streaming into the capital to lay flowers at the gates of Buckingham Palace. So many that those bunches are now being moved to a nearby park and placed around trees there where the public can walk around, read those messages of condolence that have been written and see pictures drawn by children, their depiction of Queen Elizabeth II. But there is a lot of rehearsal that now needs to take place as well in London. Both military processions will take place through the capital, preparing to move Queen Elizabeth II's coffin from Buckingham Palace, when it eventually arrives in London, to Westminster Hall, where it will lie in state there for 4 days, so more members of the public can pass by it and spend a little bit of time alone in their thoughts with Queen Elizabeth II. There is a lot to do to prepare for that final send-off on Monday the 19th.
And other members of the royal family, we understand that Her Royal Highness Princess Anne has also paid her respects to her mother. There were visuals of her curtsying in front of the coffin. Tell us a little bit more about who else has been there.
Yeah, she was seen making that really deep curtsy, wasn't she, in those photographs, bowing her head and welcoming her mother into this area, Holyrood House, where it will lie in state tonight there until it is then moved to St Giles Cathedral tomorrow. But we've also seen other members of the royal family in Scotland. They were seen yesterday, Princess Anne's daughter Zara, son Peter, and also the Countess of Wessex and Prince Edward and their children as well were seen walking around Balmoral Castle and the grounds there, looking at the flowers that had been laid, speaking to the public. But also down in Windsor as well, we saw Prince Harry and Meghan, Prince William and Kate all out together as a four, which has been being seen as a bit of a show of unity between those four younger royals, speaking to the public there, looking at those messages of condolence. So it seems like even though this is a personal tragedy for them, a personal grief, they are still willing to share that with the public and also sense the mood of the nation as well there as more and more people head out to pay their respects.
And as you say, just in terms of the foursome as they were known back in the day when the relationship was still new, and when it broke down, the Queen was always seen as the glue in keeping the royal family together amidst all of those squabbles. The King, in his initial speech when he began his again sent out his love to Meghan and Harry. Just tell us, what role do you think is foreseen? I know it's all speculation at the moment, but I'd imagine an olive branch of some sort will be made.
It certainly felt like that, didn't it? And Kensington Palace was very quick to issue this statement yesterday saying that Prince William had invited his brother, Prince Harry, to join him and Kate on this walk along with Meghan. There was speculation, of course, when we heard that the Queen wasn't well, that Meghan and Harry were both on their way to Balmoral Castle to see her. They were in the UK already for a tour that they were doing, going to charity events, also heading to Germany for the Invictus Games. But this move to go and see the Queen, I don't think was planned. So it's possible that that was a surprise to them. Then we only saw Harry up in Balmoral in Scotland. Meghan, this is the first time that we've seen her alongside Kate and William for months. And we know, we've seen the headlines, of course, we've heard those podcast episodes that Meghan has released. It's not been an easy time for the royals, and there's been a lot of criticism being thrown around on both sides there in the press. And so this picture, this image, I suppose, of those four together in grief, maybe this potential rekindling of a relationship, but we're going to have to wait and see about that. But you said about King Charles III's speech that he made to the nation, where he sent out his love to Prince Harry and to Meghan. That definitely felt a very poignant moment, and he was making a point of saying that he still loved Prince Harry and obviously sees him as part of his family.
And just a quick one, you mentioned the fact that King Charles III stuck with his name, and that was the same for his mother, Queen Elizabeth. She chose to stick with her name. But it wasn't necessarily a given, was it, that he would choose King Charles III as his title?
No, not necessarily, because the names that a lot of people in the royal family are christened with, they can shift when they become monarch if they are in line to the throne. And so, yes, you're right, it's not necessarily a given. But Charles is a name that has been used by kings before. Elizabeth was also a name that has been used by a queen before. And so perhaps it felt quite apt that he could become King Charles III because it has that royal connotation already. But that is a choice for him, and only he knows why he's stuck with it.
Oh, thank you so much for that. And of course, we'll continue getting updates from our team in London. Thank you very much, Laura Makin-Isherwood, our correspondent there.